So hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra Kaye, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat, Sadiq, also known as the Black Yul Brenner. I don't know when he'll ever change his name. Maybe he'll add another one. I don't know. But as you can see, he's still bald. Anyway, this is the podcast. So we are not live. I want to say that, but we'll be back live. Oh, no, we won't be back live because Donovan has something to do later. So that works out even better for me. Because I got something to do. Okay, I'll tell you what. If I come back on time, then we'll do a live show with just me. What we'll talk about, I don't know. But anyway, the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are great people, but we can always strive to do better. With that being said, we are going to talk about a little bit of the BET Awards with someone named SexyRedd and something that happened there. We're also going to talk about the charges being dropped on the mom in Chicago and her son. And then we're going to talk about twerking in Ghana. So, Donovan, what say you?
Hey, this is going to be a quick topic. Again, I got a wedding to go to, unfortunately. Always the best man, never the groom. But do us a favor, you guys on the way in, please hit that like button. It's absolutely free, and become a member. Like, share, and subscribe on your platforms. Become a member, because when Demetra drops 2-minute videos, whatever, you get a chance to see it, and you'll be the first to check it out. So this is a pretty interesting topic. I don't really watch award shows, but again, I have not seen the video of the woman being beaten the way it was, but I heard it was very horrific. And so the charges were dropped on that, and some people are going to agree with it. Some people are not going to agree with it. It is what it is. So let's get into it.
All right, so let's start off first with that situation. So Carlisa Hood and her son, and I won't say his name because he's a minor, or her son, they were charged with murder, both of them, for a June 18th incident that happened at I think it was a Maxwell's fast food restaurant in Chicago, where a verbal altercation of some kind took place between Carlisa and Jeremy Brown. Now, if you really look at the video, and I won't show it here because by now you guys have all seen it, it looks more like he was arguing with her. Now, it's also been said that she actually was in the restaurant first, so he came in after her. I still haven't gotten the clarification as to what he was so mad about. Nevertheless, of course, you guys saw him pound into her 3 times with his fist. He was saying, I'm going to knock you out if you keep talking. I'm going to knock you out if you keep talking. And it looks like he was truly trying to knock her out. And of course, you guys know that her son came in with her legally registered weapon and exposed of him, also following him out to the parking lot and, continue exterminating him, if you will. Now, of course, there's a lot of debate about what happened, this, that, and the other. She should be charged, and this, that, and the other. Needless to say, the charges were dropped. The prosecutors there, Kim Fox, she said upon further investigation, they saw different things, and they decided to drop the charges. Of course, that came with a lot of backlash and outcry from the public, saying that it was self-defense. Of course, the son was protecting his mom, who was being brutally beaten by Jeremy Brown. And a lot of people called him a hero and all of that. And, he has been held as a hero. And of course, on the other side of that, you have some that are saying, well, a life was lost. Jeremy Brown, his people are upset behind what happened to him. Saw a photo of his mother, and I don't know if it was his auntie, but they had a picture of him standing next to it, I guess, mourning the loss of their loved one. Then I also saw, I guess it was the girlfriend. Now, mind you, the girlfriend was also in there, and she was egging it on him doing what he did to Carlisa. And in fact, after he hit Carlisa, you can hear her saying something like, he told you to move. He told you to be quiet. So basically, you getting what you getting because you wasn't listening to what he was saying, right? So I've seen some things from somebody who purports to be his girlfriend. I guess maybe they have a child together. I don't know. Sounds like he had 2 children. So again, those charges were dropped. But I want to talk about really avoiding pushing up daisies, for lack of better words, in that situation. So Donovan, what say you about the charges being dropped on Carlisa and her son?
Well, the district attorney has the venue to pursue charges or not to pursue charges, and the district attorney in this one, a female, felt to not pursue charges. The uproar of it, and this is it's very tough depending on what side of the issue you're on. So she decided not to pursue charges. Now, like on Sunday, this is what I was saying in the legal ramifications of it. Now, we all see it as, oh yeah, they're justified. You should have seen the way he was beating her and all this other stuff like that. Don't need to see it. Personally, I heard it was that horrific. My cat is touching my green screen. I'm about to pull my green screen down. But anyway, so we're all emotional about what we see in this video. Now, my thing is this, to make a long story short in regards to the incident. We might think it's justified looking at it on the outside. The victims of this severe beating, they might think it's justified. But does that man's family think it's justified? They might see it a totally different way. And that's where the legal ramifications come into it and stuff like that. Like I said, if that was my son and he beat a woman like that, and he gets killed, I might say it's not worth him getting killed. I mean, you didn't have to kill him, something like that, so we got to think about that. So that's pretty sad. But and it's also very sad. And people say that they weren't charged. That's not true. They were charged. They were charged. You just don't walk into a jail without being charged. They can't arrest you without being charged. They were charged. The charges.
Well, I don't think nobody said they weren't charged, because they definitely were charged.
Yeah. The charges were dropped. But the sad thing in our society, isn't it so sad that here these people are victims of a Ray, whatever you want to call it, a Ike, however you want to categorize this guy, because obviously he has a problem with women. And they put up $3 million on bail on these victims. Now, if that was Ray, he'd probably be out on a $10,000 bond to go back into the community and wreak havoc, if that was his scenario. It's just sad. I mean, it just goes to show you where we're at, in our community. And the biggest loser in this, as I sat and I thought about the ramifications, because I've been in war and I've been in combat. I've seen some horrific things, right? And this 14-year-old boy, he will be scarred for the rest of their lives. I know a lot of people out there, you guys see a bunch of movies and you think that you can just splatter somebody's brain out and it's not going to affect you. It will affect you for the rest of your life, because when you take somebody out of here, you take all that they have, all that they will ever have. I don't know if this man had kids. The kids will not have any father. He will not be a son to anybody. He will not be a husband to anybody. I mean, I know it's easy to say, yeah, we can just kill him. And, we're so desensitized about that. And I'm not saying the lady didn't deserve to defend herself and so on, so forth. But that 14-year-old boy, he will be scarred for the rest of his life, because I'm telling you, it is very tough to take somebody's life and just think nothing of it, especially if you're a normal human being. You know what I mean? And, if you're just a normal everyday person walking around, to hear a gun go off is very loud, number one. And just to see the aftermath of what a bullet does to a body, be it hollow point, be it whatever. It's always a small entrance, big exit. So it's just sad.
Yeah. So as far as, his family and how they feel, and listen, I'm gonna have to just keep it real with y'all, okay? Now, I don't mean to come off raw. Yes, I do. But I just want to kind of say, forgive me for my austerity, if you will. His family should have raised him better, okay? Because gone are the days where you send your Ray, your Pookie, your Boomquisha, or whoever it is out in these streets, and you expect for everybody, not you, I'm saying, everybody else to deal with your monsters, your demons out there. You unleash them unruly, untrained, ill-behaved, you release them out into society, and then when society deals with them, then it's, ooh, did you have to kill him? Hell yeah, I had to kill him because he was about to kill my mama. And as far as him being desensitized, see, this is the men of old, right? I'm gonna talk about the men of old, the boys of back in the day. See, a boy back in the day and a man back in the day be like, I don't feel no ways at all about taking that man up out of here. Because for one thing, I would rather deal with the scars of him not being here than my mama not being here. See, it's the thing of teaching your sons about doing the right thing and doing what you gotta. Because imagine if he would have stuttered a little bit on, oh my God, I don't know what to do. His mom might not be here no more. So I get him being scarred for taking a life. But if I was in his life, I'd be like, you know what, son? I wish that you never have to do that again. But I also do not want you to feel bad about what you did. That look like a guy you should feel bad for? Because ain't no telling how many other women he whooped on before he whooped on his mama. So sometimes we got to raise our boys. Hey, you know what? You a soldier. This is what's so, and Donovan, you a soldier. So you know that I've never been to boot camp, but I'm quite sure they told you ain't no emotions in war. Ain't no, oh gosh, you know, certain situations like when it comes to kids and stuff like that. But even then they told y'all some of these children may have bombs on them. So the point that I'm making is when you a soldier, and you out there on that battlefield, and his mama in that restaurant turned into a battlefield when that monster decided to do what he did to his mama. So ain't no emotions when it comes to putting your foot down and saving your mama from something so horrible. Also, I like to say that in this case, justice prevailed. Justice prevailed. At some point in time, we got to realize some people get exterminated because they are no good and they don't deserve to be here. Now, if he didn't put himself in that situation, then he still be here. But, you know, I'm glad the justice system gave it another look and said, okay, we got this one wrong. And the other thing I think happened, unfortunately, is they painted the 14-year-old as they do a lot of other 14-year-olds who probably do deserve that moniker of being bad and, you know, a menace to society. I think they unfairly painted him in that same, you know, the broad stroke. Oh, he's a pookie. Oh, he's out there. He's a shooter. And he, you know, him and his mama, because they made it look like him, like the narrative that was going forth was that the mama was arguing. And I've still seen many a Negro, even to this day, even women, which is baffling to me. Oh, she should have just been quiet. Oh, she should have just not said nothing. It's like, first of all, who was he? They didn't even know each other. So who was he to usurp her and tell her what she need to do? Otherwise, he was going to administer a consequence on her. So he didn't need to be here. He got dealt with, and the justice system won. Or did the justice system work this time?
Right. Well, you know, that's a lot. Again, I did, this is just me talking for myself. If I'm dealing with a person that I do not know, and I'm in a situation to where, because I'm not a female, but let's say if I was a small, petite female, I would strongly recommend extricate yourself out of the situation rather than to stand there to make some kind of point, especially if I have my children with me. This is, even as a man, if I have my sons with me and let's say there's a guy I have a beef with and we have a known beef, I personally, with my children there, am not going to engage with my children. Because number one, I don't want my children to see that that's the way adults interact in regards to what might happen. And then again, bad things might happen in regards, and my kids might be in danger in regards to that. So I'm not saying we could armchair quarterback all day long. She, you know, did what she had to do. But I would strongly recommend when ladies, when you're dealing with men that you do not know of and they're talking crazy, please disengage. Please, it's not worth trying to stand up to a man, because believe it or not, biologically, we're stronger. We have more testosterone, whatever, which brings up a good point about the WNBA. There was a coach that was talking about protect trans kids, right? Which is, she could say what she wants to say. Now, I think about this, ladies. If you let trans people into the WNBA, how long will the WNBA be dominated, or would be majority women? It wouldn't last. I mean, you know, it wouldn't last very long. But my point is this. protect Black women. It seems to me, and in my opinion, when women say that women aren't being protected and stuff like that, I don't see where they're coming with that, because I've seen case after case after case where men are protecting Black women. Here's a 14-year-old boy that was protecting his mother. Maybe, I'm not being exposed to it enough, but I've seen case after case where Black men are stepping up and protecting Black women.
And the other thing too is we hear a lot of admonishment for mouthy women, right? Just be quiet. This is, if a man or somebody like that, is saying something to you, just be quiet. But why aren't we hearing enough admonishment for men not to subjugate women? Who died and told him or whatever that you can go out and subjugate women, especially women you do not know? See, the problem is this. We think we are the boss. We think we are in control of people. And this is why I hate it. And some of y'all gonna get mad, and it is what it is. I don't mean to make you mad, but this is why I hate a lot of the talking points that come out of the manosphere. Women don't listen. Women need to do what men say. And as I said to somebody, Black America, how you doing? Last week, when he asked me, would you listen to a man say yes or no? No, there's levels to it. Because if I don't know you, who are you to give me any directives of what to do? So instead of, along with telling women, because I would give my daughter that advice, hey, you know what, it ain't working, don't get into no back and forth or whatever, because you don't know what kind of fool you dealing with. I always tell these people out here, you just don't know, right? But along with that message, tell your sons, it ain't your place to be out there subjugating women, telling her to be quiet or else, and this, that, and the other thing. You don't know that lady. And even if you know her and she don't want to acquiesce your demands, then you back up off of it. But you don't have the right to subjugate her and put her in submission by putting your hands on her. And that really disturbs me that I'm hearing more of that. I wish she just should have been quiet. You know how Black women are. They always got something to say. So what? She can say whatever she wants without somebody putting their hands on her. And the other thing, as far as Black women not being protected, I don't think that's a secret that Black women are. And it's not, okay, and it's not the issue of Black women not being protected. The issue is the most unprotected. So it doesn't say all, it says the most. Now, I don't know how to quantify that as far as how many Black women are unprotected opposed to that are. I would just say this as far as me. I know a whole host of men that will protect me that are Black. And I do know that Donovan is one of them. So I can't speak, if he don't, I kill him. Okay. But, but the point that I'm making is we know that Black women are the most. Okay. Now, when it comes to qualifying it, yeah, there's a whole lot of reasons. It's not just because often or all the time Black women are like, la 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 la, and she's just out there and the big bad wolf jumps out, which a lot of times that is the case, but sometimes the sisters, listen to me, sometimes we as Black women, we do put ourselves in situations that was avoidable, like going out at night by yourself, by doing a whole host of things, leaving ourselves in a position that leaves us vulnerable, right? So as far as him protecting his mama, she's a Black woman. Yes, big ups to him. But the other part of that is, who was she protecting him or her from?
Okay, good points there. But let me just go back to the military aspect. You brought up boot camp and stuff like that. Different branches do different things. So the Marine Corps and the Army, they train their troops in boot camp to follow orders right then and there, because I have the stripes, I have the authority, you do it right then and there. Because we don't have time when there's a flanking movement going on for me to explain to you what's going on, right? So they're trained to react to an order. Left, right, flank, up, down, there, whatever. It's just muscle memory, right? So in boot camp, in all the branches, you are trained and we weed out those that might not be able to do horrific things in regards to let's say me flying an airplane, and let's say I'm flying a bomber, and I might have to drop a bomb on a city that has women, children, old people, whatever. You know, that's a big psyche on a lot of people's minds. Some people, they'll do it, no problem, you know, no big deal. But some people, it is, you know, and it is traumatic, because I've seen a lot of people come into boot camp as hard as can be, and they just can't make it because of the psyche of what it is that they really might be have to do, and so on and so forth. So in regards to him being traumatic and, you know, and dealing with that, I mean, I cannot fathom. And I was in the Air Force, so I didn't really walk in Iraq and Baghdad and on the streets, and people are taking pot shots at me. People are taking pot shots at me as I'm flying by. And you see a lot of military people right now that have PTSD from those experiences. And, you know, hopefully that guy will, that young man will be okay and deal with that. But in regards to women, and this is why I brought the boot camp up, Demetra. I know you think I'm going everywhere. This is why I brought the boot camp up. If I told you don't know me from Adam, and I said, get the fuck down right now, blah, 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 do I have time to explain it to you? Or are you going to sit there and say, who the hell you are to talk to me? Blah, 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 blah. You know, what I'm saying is, ladies, you don't know why a man might be telling you this, that, or whatever, or, you know, whatever the deal is. Because unfortunately, you do have people that will challenge, you know, everything. Now, if I had a badge and I say, get down, whatever, everybody, you know, bow down to the authority by training. And so sometimes, you know, we have to look at it in that aspect. And I'm not saying women are weak. Physically, women are weaker than men. What I'm saying is, and just like you always say, you know, sometimes not all battles are worth the fight. So sometimes, you know, if I don't know this person and we're living in crazy times, it's not worth all this to deal with the man. If somebody came in, and I'm a man, and said, oh my, have you seen those videos where the guy like starts running around the corner and just tell people, run, 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 run? That's what I'm talking about, situations like that. Is it better to run or sit there and say, what the hell you tell me running for? I don't need to be running for. I'll stay right now. I don't have to go nowhere. No, you're going to run, you know, to be safe in the aspect of just to be, it's better to be safe than sorry is what I'm saying. So.
Oh, I couldn't unmute myself for a second. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but I also think it's about situational awareness. You know, like if I'm in a bank and somebody said, get the F down. All right, I'm gonna assume we probably being robbed. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how much money I got at the bank at the time, I'll be like, sucker, this is my last. You but for real, you know, if I'm in the bank, I'm probably like, all right, it's going down. So let me do what I'm supposed to do, or wherever, right? But if I'm getting me a hot dog somewhere and some sucker come up to me talking crazy, I'm probably gonna say, huh? You talking to me? You know, I'm gonna get that clarification if you're talking to me. And he said, yeah, but we're talking to you. I'm like, all right, you know what? We need to calm down, whatever. I probably wouldn't have been, okay, what you not gonna do it? Because that's not me, right? Because as I always say, I don't know what type of fool you are. You really might be on some real cuckoo stuff. So I'll probably be like, you know what? I don't need no hot dog after all. My ass is already too fat for me eating. I'm gonna make a reason to skedaddle on out of there, right? But again, I think we really need to, in this situation, the onus needs to be on him. And, you know, RIP to him. But he didn't do what he needed to do, okay? And the other thing is, dear fools, you fools out there, if you listening, okay? Dear fools, and I mean this lovingly. See, y'all out there, as the old people say, cutting the fool, okay? Out there acting a fool. What you're also doing is out there underestimating people because you think you the biggest, the baddest, you walking tall and talking tough to everybody. But you don't know. It might be a little boy in the car that got a little heat for you. That woman might have some real legitimate smoke coming up out her bag. Or that man might have 15 black belts and take you here and take you there. You know what I'm saying? So you fools that are out there thinking you could just bum rush people, talk to people any other kind of way, as they say in the nation, think twice. Think 5 times. Think 5 times before you speak. all right, I see this lady who look like a victim. I'm finna be talking all kind of crazy to her, but let me think about it. Should I do that? Might she have something in her purse? Am I gonna make it out of here alive? Do I really need to say that to her? Okay, let me get my self in the back of the line and wait for my hot dog to be ready. See what I'm saying? Because we've seen this time and time again where you thought you was the biggest and the baddest, and now you pushing up daisies. So again.
Right, and I like to brought the point of situational awareness. If I'm going into a known neighborhood that is kind of sketchy, I'm going to be aware of my area and presence. Now, I'm as L7 as they come when it comes to hood stuff. I'm as L7 as there is. But I had family that lived in LA and South Central and stuff like that. And the thing is, I knew once I entered that environment, I had to be on my P's and Q's, not to be afraid. I was never afraid, but I had to be respectful and be mindful of my situation, what I was in. Anybody that I dealt with that might have had a problem with me, I backed out. I mean, it was nothing on me to, as big and bad as I am, I could have taken them out with the death punch, put that glove on him like in the Last Dragon, give him the glow. No, I backed out. And that's what we got to kind of, think about, especially ladies. You guys are doing all this stuff and you guys got a lot of pressure on you as well. The chicken shack is probably the best one there, but it's in a pretty shady area. So just be mindful of that,
I hear you, but again,
the man was taken out. So I mean,
as he should have been. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Some people we just shouldn't feel sorry for. Now, I don't want to be cold and callous, but he should have been taken out of here. You know what the truth about it is? That man probably should have been taken out of here a long time ago, because I thought very seriously he woke up that day and decided to do what he was doing. I think he's probably had a history. He has a propensity, or he had one anyway, to be doing what he did. And so I don't care if you're on the moon, you're in the hood, wherever you are. I think you should have the right to believe that you could go and order a hot dog without some, a-hole running up on you doing what he did. And so I'm not going to put the onus on her at all. I think she was doing what she was supposed to be doing. She was at the place where you should have a reasonable assumption that I should go in there and order food without this going on. And he came in with the rah-rah and he left out without it. So, it's always going to be on the fool for acting a fool. And now you ain't going to be able to do that no more.
Yeah, and the sad thing real quick before we transition, I did see the video of her in the restaurant and he's talking crazy to her and she's quiet as can be. She's minding her own business, whatever. But what I also saw in that video was a young man that was frying in the cook in the back. And I saw an older man right behind her. And the sad thing was, even if I'm the fry cook and I see something like that going on, you would think this young man would have gone up there and separated the two or taken action. He did not do so. And that's one of the biggest problems that we have in the community, whereas we do not want to get involved. As men, we rather sit there and film it. Ooh, world star. When Demetra, when we were coming up, yeah, we let you women have a few blows, but then we would break it up. Nobody wants to see titties popping out and all this.
Yeah, y'all do.
Well, yeah, but that's when we break it out. We don't let it get out of hand where it gets crazy. You have a few blows and we separate. And nobody wants to see grown women fighting and stuff like that. But that's the one thing I noticed in that video. There was young men or men in that establishment that should have done something.
And to your point, which also gives credence to Black women are the most unprotected, because it was an Asian man in the back, because if I understand, it's an Asian restaurant. He was in the back and he was just rolling around with hot dogs like it was, like nothing was going on. And there was an older gentleman and then somebody else too. And they all skedaddled. It's like you seen him punch her once and then they ran and then he kept continue to do it. So that left her unprotected. But something tells me too, it had that been an Asian woman in there, it wouldn't even got that far. And had that been a white woman, every Negro in there would have put on a cape and ran to her rescue. But it's a sister.
You okay, Miss Ann? Is everything
right,
okay?
Right. Oh no, son. I will not on my watch. And again, I'm not saying this about all brothers, because I know there's some really good brothers out there that would have intervened. But I think also the assumption was it's a loudmouth Black woman, or whatever. And we just gonna do nothing. And then
the video I saw, she was not talking at all. She was not talking at all. She wasn't neck rolling, none of that. So, I mean, from what I saw, the videos that I saw, I don't know where this narrative has come to where she's this ghetto type black chick.
Because that's the narrative, unfortunately, that goes out about black women that has something to say. People expect for black women to have nothing to say. And from what I saw, to me, it looked like more like she was trying to gauge an understanding of like, okay, what's going on here? Well, you know, what are we doing? And I didn't see her verbally going toe to toe. Oh yeah, you don't tend. It looked like she was trying to get an understanding of like what's happening, you know. So again, R.I.P. to him, but he won't be a fool no more. Anyway, let's move on to the next subject. Let's talk about SexyRedd, shall we? Okay, I'm gonna show y'all the video, then I will give it context if that's okay with you. Let me see if I have it up here. I'll be having to take a deep breath sometimes on Tuesdays because y'all, I had a very hard cycling class today. I want to choke that heifer. I was like, what are we doing here? Okay, so here we go. Y'all ready? Okay. Hopefully I don't get the demonetizer or strike for that. If I do, for whatever reason, y'all.
No, I couldn't even hear the music. So, I mean, it was just it's not like a bunch of yelling.
Yeah, because sometimes YouTube is real good at picking up stuff. If it does, y'all, forgive me. I'll cut the segment out, but I'm going to explain it to you nevertheless, okay? So that was the BET Awards that took place on this past Sunday. And, of course, everybody and their mama was there. And as you saw that young woman there, her name was SexyRedd. And she was singing lyrics along with everybody else to her very famous song, Pound Town. But I want to show y'all, so let me put this back up here. Hopefully it doesn't start over. Let's see. I want to show y'all. Let me see if I can get to the point. Hold on a second. I'm going to show y'all somebody because y'all probably didn't get it. Let's see if we can get a shot of him. Hold on one second. I'm trying to. Okay, on this particular one, I don't think you can see his face. You can't see his face on this one, but I'm going to show you as much as I can, so you'll be like, oh, okay, I know who he is. Here, see this guy in the black here? He's kind of one closest to SexyRedd, and he's looking forward. See the man in a jacket with the white shirt on, and then the man sitting right next to him that's closest to SexyRedd. You see it, Donovan?
Yep.
Okay. That is Dr. Bobby Jones. You remember Dr. Bobby Jones, Gospel Hour, whatever it was on
BET? Yeah, Bobby Jones. Bobby Jones Hour. I'm in a chicken circuit, and I'm gonna do this thing.
No, it was like a gospel.
Yeah, it was on Sundays. Yeah, it was like the gospel's best for like 2 hours or something.
Doctor, and I'm sorry if I'm freezing up a little bit, y'all, but Dr. Bobby Jones was in that audience. Now, Dr. Bobby Jones had a gospel show on BET for years. Everybody you could think of was on that particular show. Okay,
was that called Sunday's Best or something?
Got something with Bobby Jones, Dr. Bobby something. But y'all know what I'm talking about. That's old school BET, right? When they was kind of even still showing videos and stuff. All right, so there's Dr. Bobby Jones sitting in that audience, and I'm going to do my best to bleep out some of these lyrics I'm about to tell y'all, okay? What she was saying is this. I'm out of town, thugging with one. Wait, hold on. I got to start over. I'm out of town, thugging with one rounds. My pink, my booty brown. Where the N-words at? I'm looking for the 304s. Quit playing N-word. Come suck a B-toe. So that's what she was singing. And everybody else was singing. Now, another video, you show Krishani. I know who Krishan is. She's baby mama, Blueface's baby mama. She's very pregnant. She comes over to her and she starts twerking all in front of, remind you, Patti LaBelle's there. You got all these people who were there. Dr. Bobby Jones is there. And it's like, where do we draw the line? Where do we just say enough? Now, this is what I do know. We know that Tyler Perry has recently purchased BET. Okay, and I'm not blaming him for that. He just got the keys to the joint, right? But what I am hopeful of with Tyler Perry is that he comes in and he cleans house. Because I think that you should be able to have a BET Awards. Now, I guess it was the Music Awards. I think you should be able to have a music awards where you have somebody like a Dr. Bobby Jones, a Patti LaBelle, and anybody else with some sense and of an older generation in there, along with the young people, and make it balanced. You know what I mean? Because I'm 52 years old. I never thought we would come into a place in society where that behavior would be acceptable. Now, of course, they didn't show that. I don't think they did show that because I didn't watch the awards. They didn't show that on TV. There were several people who in the audience were filming it, and they thought that was a great thing. But my heart hurts for somebody like Dr. Bobby Jones, who I would imagine is probably in his 70s at this point. For him to be sitting there and nobody had any sense to say, hey, we got BET royalties sitting here. Nah. That bothers me that went forward and I don't even know what to say, y'all.
Was she slated to be a performer or was she just in the audience?
I don't know if she performed, but at that particular time, she was in the audience. Now, mind you, the outfit she had on, it was see-through. You can see her G-string. And
I was going to bring that up, but go ahead.
Yes, and she's throwing her leg all open, all up in the air, and twerking, and I just like, I really do love our elderly people. I really do. Anybody knows me, I know I love elderly people. And had I been there and I saw that, I would have been very demonstrative about, no, ma'am. We got Dr. Bobby Jones here. Patti LaBelle is somewhere running around here, and anybody else that don't want to sit down, ma'am. This ain't it. You know what I mean? Because with these lyrics, and they get worse, she can't perform that nowhere. I had to bleep, and at the first paragraph, I had to bleep it out from what I was saying. But at some point in time, and I want to say this to us as Black people, we know that we don't own these record companies. Let's just say that off the rip. So we know it ain't us necessarily that's writing these big old checks. Like, where did she even come from? All of a sudden here she is. So we know we're not writing these big checks to put these filthy people out there, but we know that we are the target market. So at some point in time, we have to say, no, I'm sorry. Enough. We don't want it. We're shunning it. Even, I know there's not too many Black-owned radio stations, but the ones that we do have, we're not playing that no more. Give us something we can listen to. Other than that, we're going to shun it.
Well, I got a few questions for you. This was an award show, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So this ain't a strip club. It's not anything like that. Okay, at an award show, you get awards for achievements, or you're in a category and you're being nominated for an award. And, whatever happened to dressing up to get awards and receive awards? Like you said, you have legendary performers in the audience, that are just there. It's like when James Brown is in the audience, everybody just James Brown. It's Spinners. These legendary groups and people. Patti LaBelle. Some stuff like that. This lady almost had no clothes on. Number one, how did she even get into the venue dressed like that? That's one of my main questions. I wasn't sure if this was the BET Awards or was this the Source Awards. Now, notice the Source Awards don't exist anymore because guys were pulling out their shalongs and acting a fool and gang, all the vices were going on, and death row and bad, all the stupidness. And now it's gone. Now, if this keeps coming up like this, BET Awards will not exist within the next 3 years. I'm predicting it right now.
Well, I'm going to say this as far as the fashion. It's funny because I was having this conversation with my daughter yesterday, and I said, when did fashion become trashing? Because somehow people have gotten it mixed up. Like, oh, fashion is me going out there butthole naked with 2 cotton balls and a Band-Aid on, right? Like this is fat. I'm old enough, and so are you, Donovan. Don't lie to kick it. We old enough, but we remember when we got dressed up, and that was considered fashionable, right? People actually had on clothes. You might have a little shoulder, maybe a little slit,
Little thigh showing, exactly.
But that ain't fashion. That's strumpet wear.
Well, the thing is, think about this. If you're dressing like that to an award show, I'm about to go to a wedding today. Now I'm going to get dressed up in, jacket, the common thing. Of course, you never dress the colors of the theme. You definitely don't come in there white. You don't come in there, like the groom black or whatever he's going to wear, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to be dressed up. We're getting to a point to where, you know what, Demetra, I wouldn't be surprised if I show up to this wedding and some people are dressed just like that young lady.
But what I want to know is this, Donovan. There's going to be some older people there, including yourself. Okay. It's going to be older people there. Are one of y'all going to say, no, ma'am, this is a wedding. This is a respectable event. And you can't come in here like that. Now you may not have the authority because it ain't your wedding, but I know your auntie and your uncle going to be there. I know it's going to be a whole lot of other people there older than you. Will they say, no, ma'am? Or even if it's a man who's got something on he ain't supposed to have on, I don't think so. You cannot come in here. Like, where are the voices in our community? And what I want to know too, from us older people, when did we become such punks to where we can't say stuff to people? Well, oh, nah, baby, no, baby, you can't say nothing to them no more. No, I'm telling you right now, on my mama. And last time somebody said something on my grandmama, they ended up not being here. That was a dude that was up in the hot dog. But I'm just saying, on my mama, R.I.P. Had I been there, I would have said, no, ma'am. We don't want to see that. Sit down. Now, I might have got booed or whatever. Shut y'all all day. But so what? So what I want to know is, will somebody, if that happens at this wedding, will somebody say, even if it's nice, I'm sorry, this is a respectable event where a man and a wife are going to be exchanging nuptials and you're going to be a distraction. So do you have something you could put on in the car, or can you pull it down together? Will somebody say that?
Right, exactly. This goes back to Sierra and, how she was dressed when she came out to that event, whatever the deal is. She wasn't a performer. She wasn't a model in there, but yet all the attention got diverted to her, in that aspect. And she's a married woman. That's what everybody, I think, got upset, was the fact that she did not represent her husband correctly for his image that he portrays, so on and so forth. But, if BET, and we know when BET got bought by the corporations and stuff, that it started throwing out a narrative, because we used to watch the BET, that was something to watch back in the day because it was something of our own and stuff like that. And it was something to think. But now you're going to have the young ladies going to see this girl and think, oh, yeah, this is fine. I can dress like this. It's no big deal, whatever. It's just good. And it's not. Now, a quick story for me, and this happened almost 10 years ago for me. My grandmother on my dad's side was my grandmother, right? That's where I got my nickname from. She was my grandmother. I was her favorite out of all those grandkids, over 65 of us grandkids. I was her favorite, right? Now, I show up to the funeral. My grandfather on my mom's side will be 100 years old in September. Now, when this man passes, I don't think he'll pass another 20 years, but, it's going to be, an event. It should be an event. Now, when my grandmother passed, she was the center of the family. She was the matriarch. Everybody met at my grandmother's house. My grandmother passes away. We go to the funeral. My brothers show up. We're the oldest grandkids, so we show up. And of course, grandkids sit farther away than the initial kids. Jacket, shirt, presentable. I had people coming to my grandmother's, and I couldn't say anything because, I'm just a great grandchild, coming to grandmother's funeral, her going away, T-shirts, Dickies, shoes. I can understand if you're just somebody that my grandmother might have known in the neighborhood, but we're talking about family members. Some of my family members look like they were dressed up going to a club. And I'm just like, and I'm looking at this, trying to hold my salt, try not to say nothing. And I'm like, this is my grandmother, and you are showing up like this. When did we get so far away from our common sense of, dressing up and being respectable? I don't care if you don't got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. You can go to a thrift store, get a nice little jacket. And I'm talking to the men. I really can't speak to the women. That's a different story for me. I'm speaking to the men. Do not show up at somebody's funeral in khakis and a T-shirt and think it's all good unless it's a gangster funeral or something like that. I mean, some people deserve to go out with the glory that they they deserve. I mean, this was the center of everything. Oh, mama, you needed something, this woman gave it to you. But they showed up it was, I was just looking at, remember that Tyler Perry movie? I forgot one where they were at the family reunion. I think it was family reunion. And Cicely Tyson was just looking at how the girls were just twerking around. And you're just like, what is going on here? And that's where we're at today, where we can't say nothing to these kids. We can't do anything that, there's no more training. And I'm not blaming the baby boomer generation, but that was the catalyst of the counterculture. That's where it started. The rebellion against traditional values started with that generation.
Well, I will say this. I had, because my mom's mom is gone on. She's deceased. I had one of those both of my grandma was like that, but my mom's mom, no, ma'am, you would not wear that red suit, because my uncle Charlie had passed away, and I was like, I'm gonna wear a red suit. It was covered up and cute. I whipped that suit out. My grandma said, oh, I don't think so. You will not wear that red suit to my brother's funeral. And she dug up off in her closet and gave me some frilly, flowery thing that I wouldn't have never worn. But you know what? My grandma has spoken. You're not wearing that red suit because that's disrespectful, right? She deemed it to be disrespectful to wear red to a funeral. I didn't say, but grandma, I want to. I did it. And what I had on, I was like, this is like some Little House on the Prairie stuff. But nevertheless, my grandma wants me to wear this, opposed to what I brought. So be it. My grandma, she was like, you will not wear no knee-high boots up into the church. Do you have a slip-on under that burlap sack dress? Oh, well, then you better get one. A midriff to church. That's the kind of grandma I had. And my sister and I were the type of the granddaughters that was like, oh, okay. It wasn't like, grandma, you got to get with the times, and this is what people are wearing. And when I say midriff, it wasn't like we had all our stomach out. It was a separation between your skirt and your shirt. She considered that to be a midriff. But the point that I'm making is, my grandma's generation wasn't no punk. I don't care if you don't like it, but guess what? You're not coming up to Friendship Baptist Church dressed any kind of way. And y'all know, I also have a Muslim upbringing. You ain't going into the mosque with any old thing on. You're going to be covered up decently. If you're a newcomer, I guess they leave you a little bit of provision, but you ain't coming there with your hoo-ha and all that out. They going to try to help you, maybe try to find something to put on, but you're not coming up in it. But see, because I've been in churches a long time ago, because I ain't been in church in a while. But even then, I've been in churches. One time I was sitting in the pew, and a sister, I don't know, she was in the church or she's new to the church. She came up there and walked up to the front of the church with Daisy. I never forget, Daisy Duke shorts on and a tank top. And I said, this is the strangest thing I've seen in a long. And the ushers ushered her out there. Now, the churches of old that I would go to back in the day, my grandmama and my daddy's, the mosque, you ain't getting ushered up to the front of the church in no Daisy Dukes so the pastor could get a gander at your thighs. No, ma'am. We got a choir robe you could put on, and you will gladly come sit you in the. But now they walked in. And so when we go to church nowadays, you do see, And I'm not judging people. I know the Lord says, come as you are, but he's talking to the new people. He ain't talking to you people that grew up and was born up into the church. You see women coming up there with ultra tight jeans on and high heels, that doggone high, and the business all out. And, you know, and I don't know. I can honestly say, and I can honestly say this, I haven't seen too many men in the church dressing inappropriate, because I don't think it's very hard for a man. You know, you might put on some slacks and a shirt or whatever the case is. Maybe the men have not been as buttoned up like with a shirt and a tie, but they were decent. But I've always, in my experience, seen women coming in the church inappropriate. I'm like, why y'all letting these women in here like this? Then y'all gonna be mad with Deacon so-and-so when he looked too long at the new sister with the 6-inch high heels and the tight jeans on. You can see the year, the quarter in her pocket.
Yes, and he wants to do private Bible study with her, right?
Right. Let me lay some hands on her. She needs a blessing.
He's gonna do more than lay hands on her.
You know? So I'm just saying, for us, we need to start being punks. Somebody in that audience, when they saw SexyRedd doing all that, she shouldn't have been able to do that for 15 seconds.
Right. Somebody
jumped up and said, no, ma'am. You
right.
see who's sitting over there?
Right.
Oh, I don't even know who that is. That is Dr. Bobby Jones. He is over the gospel department, and he used to be of this channel. And what you need to do is sit your bony ass down somewhere before it gets ugly up in here.
And notice he kept his head straight. He didn't want to see any of that. And, you know, and here's another question that I have too. It's not even a question, it's another statement. We could buy our children $300 Jordans, but yet we can't go to Burlington Coat Factory and get a basic jacket for our young boys to wear and say, remember we were growing up, you always had your church clothes and you had your play clothes. And your church clothes, it might be the only suit you got, but that's the one you wore to church and weddings and special events. Because, you know, a lot of us come from meager startings and stuff like that. But we can buy our kids this PlayStations, we could buy them Jordans, we could buy them everything their heart desires. But when it comes to showing them how to dress traditionally to an event, we ain't doing that. I mean, look at the proms for these kids nowadays. Oh my gosh. When you went to the prom, didn't your dad give you that moo-moo with the thing at the bottom and stuff? And you still look good.
I had a stepfather and a father, and there was no way in hell. I tried to wear, you know, in the 80s. That's when I came up. Shoot, you know, I'm born in 71, came up in the 80s when the mini skirt was coming back. I had a nice little denim blue jean skirt that I bought. And I don't think it was terribly short, but I was getting ready to go to school that morning. And my stepfather was like, you're not wearing that out of here. You can't wear that to school. And I was like, what? And, you know, it was all the rave. You know, I outfit and everything. Hair was done, everything. So he went to work, and I was like, my mom said, you know what? It's not that short. You could wear it, but put some stockings on it. Because back then we wore, you know, different color tights. And I remember I put some white tights that you could not see through underneath. And so it was a compromise. Now, I was wise enough, though, when he got back not to have that damn skirt on. You know what I'm saying? But my mom wasn't usurping him, kind of. But she was like, you know, I think your stepdaddy tripping. However, me and you both need to have enough sense. Put some stockings on, and you definitely don't have that on when he come home. And he never knew. God rest his soul that I wore it.
Right, and you know, and again, it isn't that your mom was usurping him, whatever. As a woman, she understood. So there's things that women understand that men will never understand, and so on and so forth. So to me, that's really not a usurping, because when I had my stepdaughter, you know, I put my rules down, but then my mother had to come in and tell my wife, hey, if he says this is how it is. But he don't get home till 5.
And the other thing is, I would say with my mom, she didn't say, leave her alone. Ain't nothing wrong with that skirt. That skirt ain't too short. You tripping. You just, my mom, I promise you, and both my mom and my stepdaughter are no longer here, but I have that image burnt in my head. My mom was standing by the kitchen. My dad, because I called him dad, was about to go out the front door, and I happened to come from my room, so I was in the middle of both of them. And my dad was, you can't wear that, you know, blah, 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 and my mom just stood there. She was stoic. She didn't have she was just stood there, and she listened to the, you know, us, whatever. I tried to plead my case, but I didn't win. She waited for them to walk out the door, wait for the car to leave, and say, okay, this is the deal. You know what I'm saying? But she did not show me that, and she didn't do that to him. So it worked out. So let's get to this last one really quick.
And I think it's very important that we get to this last one.
And hopefully YouTube don't trip with me. I don't think it's terrible, but I've seen worse on YouTube. Does it make any sense? So hopefully I can show this without any repercussions. But if I do get repercussions, just go and look up the video twerking for my ancestors in Ghana. But
it's on a bunch of videos on YouTube, so you shouldn't have a problem.
Okay, so well, here it is. Put it up here. Is this it? Here it goes. So I saw that actually this weekend, and those I don't even want to call them sisters, because when I think of a sister, I think of a sister, a black woman that got some sense, some civility, that is walking in her queendom. So I'm gonna call them ratchets, and that's a very loose term because I really want to call them something else. Though they went to Ghana, and that was a top of a slave dungeon. Of course, you guys know there was ports of no returns, a lot of ports in Africa, places in Africa where they kidnapped slaves from and brought them to America or somewhere else in the world. And they thought that it was a good idea to go there and twerk for the ancestors. And it's like, did the ancestors ask you to do that? And there's so many other things you could have done for the ancestors, like put some clothes on and went in solace like most people do when they visit places like that. Because I haven't been yet. I would love to go to a Senegal or, maybe Ghana. I heard it's really commercialized now with people like that over there. But most videos that I've seen of people in the slave, they call it caves or holding cells or whatever they call it, they were moved beyond tears. They were, the emotions ran through them. And they said, I can almost feel our ancestors' presence here and what they were going through. So when I think of going somewhere like that, I'm confused as how you thought that you would bend your behind over and wiggle it there. That is what it's kind of piggyback on the conversation that we had a minute ago. It's just every day now that uncouth behavior is normal. And again, if you say something, because I'm wondering, I'm not putting this on anybody else who was there, how many people saw that? And I'm sure they were disgusted by it. But again, had that been me, I would have said, no, ma'am. Do you know where you're at? And first of all, why would you come over here dressed like that? Because anytime I go to a different country, I well, anywhere for the most part, I got pretty good amount of clothes on, unless I'm on the beach or something like that, because you just want to show reverence for where you're at. Now, one of the girls, they said that she has a boyfriend that's Ghanaian. And I saw in the comment section of a lot of African based social media places, they were like, he needs to not be with her. Why would he be with her? And she's a disgrace. And they're 100% right. She's a disgrace. And it's like, out of all the women in the world, you making that show, I guess they're supposed to get married. That you making that, the one that had the gray shorts on, the BB. Y'all took y'all BBLs to the motherland. And let me tell y'all something, because I'm still Donovan talking point, because I know this Negro, okay? You took your BBLs to the land of plenty, where those women got it naturally, okay? You took your BBL, your plastic, your silicone, whatever's in there to do that. I'm disgusted.
Well said. Well said. When I saw the video, I'm going to tell you, first of all, you see the young and immature women that are running around in this country. Now, we talk about, Black people need to be respected. Black women need to be respected. No, they don't, because this is what you portray, and this is how people see yourself. When you don't hold yourself with respect yourself, how do you expect other people to respect you? How? Just please explain to me how. When other people from other countries get on YouTube and they see you twerking on a historic site that was negative to your very own people, how do you expect people to respect you when you don't even respect yourself? Because obviously, you know, that's almost like going to the Martin Luther King mausoleum and you're just twerking all over there, whatever the deal is, and to the civil rights movement. You just, I mean, how is that respect? Now, of course, you're going to have these young, immature girls talk about, well, that's an African dance. There is nowhere in Africa where that dance is real. There's nowhere.
So they do have that type of dance. However, there's context to that dance.
Correct.
In some places, it's like a mating call or like
correct.
So
correct.
there's
meaning to it.
Yeah, there's right. It's traditional. It's rooted in something.
Right.
Those trumpets, they went over there being nasty. But see, that's the thing. They didn't just go over there to be nasty. They already nasty. And the one with the shorts, she was being disrespectful. Oh, and I'm paraphrasing, Africa's dirty. Nobody want to come here and all that. Listen, I can't. I ain't gonna say what I really want to say, but I would just say this. I'm trying to figure out how the way to say this without inciting anything. Y'all see her over there? Welcome her. You know, yes. and I mean that very loosely, but they nasty, disgusting, not even just physically, but mentally. Your attitudes is horrible, and I'm gonna say this too, and I don't care. Your mama probably that way. Your bald-headed grannies is probably that way too. You probably learned it from them. Your great-grandmas was probably on the chitlin circuit, twerking and doing something strange for the change, and they passed that down to y'all to where y'all would get a passport, jump your funky asses on the plane, and go over to somebody else's country and bend it over, stank up the joint, and then justify doing it. And you know what I almost wish somebody would have did as they was bending over? Somebody would have took a very narrow pointed shoe and went to work.
Now, let me ask you this question, since we're talking about that. You happen to have gone to Africa. Did you or your daughter ever have the inclination to twerk for the ancestors while you were in South Africa? I mean, you know, we went to the Mandela, where Mandela was in, well, we didn't go where his prison was, but they brought his prison to the museum. I mean, other than going to the casino, you guys want to go to the casino. But did you have the inclination when we were going through that museum, the apartheid museum, to, you know, just twerk it up for the ancestors because, you know?
Yeah, you know, or in Stephen Biko's jail cell. Yeah, I thought, you know, let me just go and hang on to the bars. You know, but that's what I'm saying. Where do you have to be in life to where you're like, now's a perfect time to show the world my hemorrhoids? You know, where do you have to be? But like I said, I blame their mama, I blame their grandmama, I blame their whole bloodline for the strumpetness that they portrayed there in Ghana. They just strumpet. That's strumpet behavior. Y'all don't know what that is? Look it up.
Yeah, well, the sad thing is, it's almost like going to a graveyard, which is something that's supposed to be traditional and very serious. It's a serious situation. Now, this is an embarkation for people to go and never return to their homeland. And they go over there. And, you know, put it like this: if that was their big mama, they wouldn't want nobody doing that at Big Mama's, their Big Mama's funeral, the one that took care of them. They'd be, oh no, oh God, oh, that's my.
Listen, big, as I said, they Big Mama is probably a strumpet too.
Right. But the point is, if somebody went over there and did that at Big Mama's funeral, they would be upset. But that's what I'm saying. You know, we go to these places and, you know, here we are. Oh, we're Black Americans and we're this. And, you know, we're not of the diaspora. I'm not African. I'm not this. We go over there where, like I said, just being in South Africa, even though I was partying, you know, being in South Africa, it moved me to where I was like, man, this is where it all started. I'm on the continent to where some of my origins start. Don't know where I'm from, but I'm still where it started. This is the continent where it started. I was in Reverence, and then I'm in another person's country, so I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to be respectful. I was always willing to learn. You know me, I was out the door learning how much I can, walking around the community and all that other stuff.
But you know what they did, and we're going to get out of here because what they did would be the equivalent of going into the Taj Mahal or somewhere like that in Saudi Arabia, to these holy temples of Dubai, and bending their funk asses over and twerking. But you know what the crazy part is? I believe they got a little bit more sense, because they know they would have bent over for 2.2 seconds and they be in somebody holding cell somewhere talking about, Biden, can you get us out? Well, what you over there for? Twerking.
Right. But here's my story though. For those of you that haven't traveled before and whatever, and you wonder why, you'll go to a place like Dubai and do stuff strange for the change, and they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff to you, because this is how they see you. This is what they see in the videos. They don't see somebody dressed appropriately and looking sexy, visually and all that other stuff covered up. I mean, they don't see that. They see you twerking. They see you looking like this and looking like that. You're just loosely out there. And that's how they see our women. Loose women. Black women are seen as loose.
Or what if you was out there and there's somebody out there want to do you bad, right? Like they look in the traffic, some Americans, they're like, look no further, And then, not saying you should be trafficked. Then you say, hey, White House, the embassy, the consulate, listen, we've been snatched up, we've been taken. Oh yeah, what happened? Well, we was bending over twerking, and then somebody put a pillowcase over our head. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like, again, I'm not saying it should be, but you got a situational awareness. Like the stuff that some of those girls had on, I don't even dress like that to the gym. I have on clothes when I go to the gym because I don't want nobody all up in my booty. I'm bending over because I'm working out, right? So it's like, why would you even wear that to there? Why?
And let me say this. I did 24 years in the military. I flew airplanes and I went to SEER school and all that other good stuff. And you know one thing they taught me in SEER school? If I ever got shot down as a Black person, I have no value as an American citizen because I'm Black. They didn't say that outright, but that was the truth of the matter. So you're a tourist over in another country. Do you think you're a priority when you go over there and something happens to you? I mean, it's bad enough we can't find the Black women here in the United States. What are you going to do when you get over there?
Yeah, and then if you would have got locked up for doing that somewhere or whatever the case, and then you'd be mad because people in America ain't turning up for you. When you could have just went and act like you had some sense, you wouldn't be in that situation. But a lot of countries, you get locked up for doing that kind of stuff, especially when they say they sacred grounds, huh? So
very sad, but again, this goes to the immaturity of these young women that go over there with no damn sense. Simple as that.
Yep. So anyway, y'all, we're gonna get out of here. Donovan has a wedding to prepare for, and my nephews are here visiting.
Who's over there? Who's over there?
Chris and Evan. So we're gonna go have lunch with them really quick. It is my hopes to make it back here on time to have the show at 5 o'clock. Now listen. If I come back here, I can't be on here long because I have another meeting after that. So I'm going to be on here just a little bit. But anyway, y'all stay tuned. We love and appreciate you guys dearly. If you guys want to help the channel, there's ways to do so at the bottom. Also, thank you to the members and subscribers. If you liked, you watched this video, love you dearly. See you all in a little bit. If not, definitely tomorrow, Wealth Wednesday with Walter. God help us all. Peace.
I'm going to tune in for that.
Yes.